Meta just crushed it when it came to earnings. Stock is up over 9% right now, which is massive. And their numbers were phenomenal. More important, revenue growth. So the first things that jumped out to me, which I posted over on my X, is that revenue is up over 22% year over year. And at this scale, that is crazy. For a company with a smaller market cap and 100 millions, billions, growing at 22% isn't that crazy. But for Meta, which has a market cap of $1.75 trillion, right, for their revenue to actually grow at that size is nuts. Yes, which is earnings per share, beat by 21%, which is good. Another main reason is that Q3 guidance is way above estimates. Operating margin is at 43%. A lot of people are saying because obviously they're going to use AI to cut down operating margin. And daily users is up to about 3.48 billion. So that's up about 210 million year over year. So very, very strong as far as the initial numbers. Now, the biggest thing I think that's really driving the stock is not only the revenue, like we said, which increased pretty substantially, but more so Q3 guidance. So if we take a look right now, they're expecting 47.5 billion to 50.5 billion, which compares to analyst estimates of 46.17 billion. So very, very good. And one thing I feel a lot of the times is that people will say like, hey, the numbers were really for whatever stock it might be, but for some reason the stock is cratering after hours. And a lot of the times what investors and institutional investors are looking for, not necessarily the numbers, they're looking at guidance because they are always forward thinking. Now we're making this video right now at 4:49 p.m. So there's a chance that this continues to run or pulls back a bit depending on the earnings call. But in my opinion, these are very strong numbers and I doubt it's going to pull back sizably. Now, we did do a video yesterday talking about Meta and how I thought that it was not a good time to be starting a position. Now, the reason that we said that in the video is not because they were showing any signs of weakness and not necessarily because we thought the stock was going to pull back. We actually thought that this was going to continue to move its way up. But the main reason I did not think it was a good time to buy, and I still stand by that, is because I want to be buying at a discount. I don't want to be buying when the stock is trading at all-time highs. Now, the way that we find these discount zones is by drawing and using our smart money and institutional buy levels. What we want to see is price pulling back into these institutional buy levels, which is exactly what we saw back in April and March and the beginning of May. And then we want to see 1 week of bouncing and then a higher low on this weekly BX trender. So following our criteria to enter, our entry would have been right at about $546. And so from that point until today, the stock was up about 27%. And from that point until right now, it's up about 38%. That means that if you are buying today, yes, the stock can continue to run, but you're not buying at a discount. And I can promise you that whether you're an investor or you're a trader, you need to be patient with your entries unless you plan to just dollar cost average and own a stock forever. But I'm going to tell you, like, after managing my funds for the past 10 years, I don't do that. Now, the reason that I don't do that is because if big money is not going to step in, if institutions are not going to move the stock, then nothing is going to happen. And there's no reason for me to take the capital in my funds and just have it sit there in dead positions. This is why we focus so heavily on looking at the weekly and looking at the monthly charts. More importantly, the BX trender. We're not focusing on buying and selling each and every single second of every day. But if we just look at a monthly chart here on Meta, the times that you want to be buying is when this BX trender is green, because this means that macro buying pressure is in the market. Real quick, if you want to learn how to find these setups on your own and get access to the same exact indicators that I use, we built a free training system just for that. The link is down in the description, and over 20,000 other traders are currently using it every single day. And the times that you want to be selling, or in this opinion, in my case, just not even holding this, is when the BX trender is red. You can see here that if you would have just sold back here in October of 2021, you would have missed nearly a 70% sell-off on Meta. And so even if you're a long-term investor, wait for these sell-offs to occur And yeah, if you would have held 2021, the top of 2021 till now, you'd be up in the past 1,400 days. You would have made a 112% return. But why not just deal without that headache and then wait until you get true confirmation and instead be up about 545% in 900 days? So you're holding for half the amount of time and making 5 times the reward. Hope this video helped, guys. Still stand by my analysis for yesterday. Meta's looking very, very good. Think it's going to continue to expand, but I am not a buyer at this price.